वेलकम बैक टू द चैनल होम्योपैथिक मेडिकोसिस #होम्योपैथी फॉर ऑल। होम्योपैथिक मेडिकोसिस में आप सभी का फिर से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। एंड टुडे वी विल टॉक अबाउट द कार्बो वेजिटेबल्स, दैट इज द सिस्टमिक सिम्टम्स ऑफ द कार्बो वेजिटेबल्स इन ब्रीफ। एंड इन द फर्स्ट वीडियो ऑफ द कार्बो वेजिटेबल्स वी विल ऑलरेडी टॉक्ड अबाउट द generals and including physical generals and mental generals and including that of characteristics and keynote symptoms of carbo vegetabilis. So you should watch that video to understand this remedy better, so to understand this remedy in a whole way. So today we will discuss the systemic symptoms. I have arranged the systemic symptoms in the descending order of the importance. So first we will discuss about the stomach. In a stomach it is heaviness and fullness. So we know that the basic symptoms of the carbo vegetabilis is the digestion is slow. So that the basic symptoms is that there is a kind of slowness and relaxation in carbo vegetabilis. So that effect will also come on the physical level, and that is on the all the symptoms, all the systems. So here digestion is slow, food is putrefies before digestion. Obviously if the digestion is slow, the food remains in the stomach for a long time, that leads to the putrefaction of the food in the stomach. Here it is heaviness and fullness in the stomach. There is tense, it is tense from flatulence with pain that aggravate on lying down. Epigastric region is very sensitive, and the gastralgia in the nursing woman. It is a very good remedy for nursing women and as well as for the pregnant women, in the sense especially related to the stomach complaints and stomach complaints. Constrictive pain, chest that will extend to the chest with distension of abdomen. There is cramping pain forcing patient to bend double. There is a water brush is simply that it is the salivation, increase in salivation before at the time of nausea or before vomiting in morning, and aversion to milk, meat and fatty food. Obviously if the digestion is slow, there will be aversion to the fatty food, fatty stuffs, and there is a burning, sour, rancid sensation in the stomach, and there is irritations after eating and drinking gives temporary relief. So irritation in carbo vegetabilis gives the temporary relief. We will see later how it is related to China and Lycopodium. So further moving on to the next slide. In abdomen, the symptoms of abdomen is correlated with the stomach. It is just the extension of a stomach, or you can say it's both almost similar. Abdomen greatly distended, better, passing flatus, flatulent colic, discharge of the fetid flatus, diarrhea, watery mixed with the mucus and blood, and there is soreness in anus. So it is dysentery kind of symptoms, and the pain as if from the lifting weight, pain in the liver region, ulceration of the bowels, cannot bear the tight clothes around the waist and abdomen. And carbo vegetabilis comes in the triad of flatulence with Lycopodium and China. Flatulence in the upper part of the abdomen that will ameliorate by belching in general, that all symptoms of carbo vegetabilis will ameliorate by belching. Lycopodium in the flatulence in the lower part of the abdomen, and there will be no relief from belching. And China, flatulence in the whole abdomen and also no relief from belching. So only carbo vegetabilis has the amelioration from belching. And note that in carbo vegetabilis the belching will relieve all the complaints in general, that is whether a headache, stomach complaint, or a colic. It will that belching will, though temporarily, but it will relieve the complaint in general. So that is all about the abdomen. And obviously the carbo vegetable patient, the digestion is slow, so therefore it is arising all kind of symptoms. Further, the symptoms of the rectum on the next slide, and it is also correlated with the abdomen and the stomach. That is flatus is hot, offensive, that we already talked about. Itching, gnawing pain and burning in the rectum, that is a red flag symptoms in carbo vegetabilis. Acrid corrosive moisture from rectum, discharge of blood from rectum, and there is a frequent involuntary cadaverous stools, and bluish burning piles, pain after stool. So these are the some symptoms, nothing such a specific, but discharge of blood from rectum and acridity, corrosive moisture from rectum. Extremities In extremities, now we will the sphere will relate to the slow circulation of the blood into the peripheral part of the body. So like in whether in the upper part or in the lower extremities. So it is a cold from knees down the toes. This is the basic important symptoms in Carbo Veg, that is red flag symptoms, that the leg will be cold from knee to foot, and leg is heavy, stiff, limbs go to sleep, want of muscular energy, weakness, all because related to the weakness of either nerves or weakness, just because that the circulation is not that much. So these are the basic extremity symptoms. On the next slide we will talk about the respiratory symptoms. Respiratory symptoms such like hoarseness, that is worse in the evening, and damp air. You can compare this with causticum, that is worse in the morning, and obviously in causticum also the talking aggravates the hoarseness. Though hoarseness, very good remedy, or triphyllum or drosera, that has the hoarseness, we should compare that to. Cough with burning in the chest, there is a spasmodic cough with vomiting of mucus, and you can see that asthma in the aged with blue skin, and cyanosis there due to deficiency of oxygen in the blood. And it is asthma is basically used to occur in the old age patient with blue skin. That is the patient who are weak, who are very flaccid kind. It is also very good remedy for phthisis, that is tuberculosis of lungs, hydrothorax, debilitated kind of patient. The Carbo Veg is more indicated. There is offensive yellow greenish expectoration and wants to take a deep breath just to saturate the oxygen level in the blood. Feels that oxygen is supplying to the different parts of the body very slowly, so wants to take deep breath. And there is a cough with burning in the chest. So these are the basic respiratory symptoms. And the important one is that the asthma in the aged with the blue skin, and the breath is also cold and wants to be fanned, though slowly, but wants to be fanned. And you can compare this with laches. Moving on to the next slide, this is about skin. The skin is blue, cold, ecchymosed, moist skin and hot perspiration. So there is moist skin and hot perspiration, but skin, if you touch, it feels cold. And the symptoms of skin is basically originated from that slow circulation of the blood, marbled with venous over distension. Again you can see that varicose vein symptoms, itching worse in the evening when warm in the bed. You can compare this with various remedies, sulfasalazine. Senile gangrene, bleeds easily, varicose ulcers, slowness of blood flow. So these are our ischemic conditions, offensive discharges, and Carbo Veg offensive nature is marked. Whether in all kind of discharges, their offensive nature is marked. And because putrefaction is very much related to the Carbo Veg system and carbon group, overall tendency to gangrene at margins, bed sores, and passive hemorrhage of black blood, bleeds easily. In Carbo Veg there is a passive hemorrhage. It is not same like of ipecac or belladonna, where active bleeding you see, or in CKL and hemamelis or aconite, where the bleeding is active. In Carbo Veg you see the bleeding is of passive nature, and with the black bleeding, not of the bright red blood. So bleeding, you have to remember the passiveness and the nature of the bleeding, that is black bleeding. Disease of the venous system, varicose veins, symptoms of ischemia, coldness, blueness of limbs, and varicose ulcer. All symptoms are basically related to the ischemic conditions in Carbo Veg due to slowness of the circulation, due to the inefficiency of the heart, or heart pumping the blood very lethargically, you can say, very not efficiently enough to supply to the different parts of the body. So this leads to the passive hemorrhages, this leads to that of varicose ulcers, this leads to that of gangrene, coldness and blueness of the limbs due to deficiency of oxygen in the peripheral part of the body. Moving on to the next slide, this is about the female reproductive system. And Carbo Veg is already talked about, is a very good friend to the woman and friend of her offspring. So it is in that it causes the relaxation of muscles and ligaments. It is manifested by the dragging down sensation. Organs feels heavy and hangs down, as the relaxation or slowness is the marked symptoms of the Carbo Veg. So here you can find that muscle and ligament is manifested by dragging down sensation. There is metrorrhagia, there is nerve sub-involution, notonicity, again that relaxation and contraction, weakness and relaxation, pregnancy, nausea, flatulence, offensiveness, weakness, and suppression of milk and prostration from nursing because he is already sick. There is suppression of milk, and when the nursing will occur, so the female is already in the prostrated condition in puerperium, so the nursing will cause a more prostration to the female. So next slide, which is about the head, ear and nose altogether. In head, first of all, we'll talk about the occipital headache, that is head is full and distended. It feels congestive kind of headache and cannot be jarred down back to pillow. So aches from any overindulgence. Obviously headache will aggravate from any kind of mental or physical exertion. Otorrhea, in ear complaint, otorrhea, thick offensive discharge. Again, offensiveness is the marked symptoms. Ears is dry and malformation of cerumen with exfoliation of dermoid layer of mucus. So otorrhea is there, and there is offensive discharge. And of epistaxis, that is passive hemorrhage. Tip of the nose is red and scabby, varicose veins on the nose. Again, you see the distension of the veins, dilatation of the veins, and coryza with cup, especially in the moist, warm weather. There is in the moist complaint, the dampness leads to the aggravation in the symptoms of the Carbo Veg. So coryza will aggravate in the moist, damp condition. Moving on to the modalities, the aggravation and amelioration. And aggravation is due to the evening condition, open air, cold, fat food, butter, coffee, milk, warm, damp weather, wine, pressure of clothes, overlifting. And amelioration is irritation from fanning, cool air, and elevating the feet. That will help the blood circulation. And complementary, it is Carbo Veg is complementary to Kali Carb and Drosera. So this is all about the important ameliorating symptoms is eructations and elevating, and you can say the cool air. And there you can see the difference between the open air and cool air. Open air is on aggravating factor, and cool air is amelioration. It's want to be faint, but not that quick faint like in laxative. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe the channel for more such videos, and hope you like this video. Thank you very much.